Welcome everyone to a video presentation. We are from Saigon South, Team 4, Group 3, and our chosen destination for this assignment is Sapa. Sapa district is located in Lao Cai province in the north of Hanoi. It is a rural and mountainous area that is very famous for its beautiful scenery and cool climate. In 1993, its opening for international tourism has helped Sapa and Lao Cai province develop rapidly. However, mass tourism has had its negative impacts. So in this report, we will be applying two theories, stakeholder concept and triple bottom line, to further analyze their sustainability in tourism practices.
According to Freeman's stakeholder theory, stakeholder is defined as any group or individual who can affect or is affected by the achievement of organization's objectives. They're classified into different groups depending on their impact on decision-making process and level of interest. So in tourism, they can be identified as tourists, tourism service providers, governments, and host area communities. Tourism are the key elements of stakeholders for local economy and preserving regional culture. Most tourists expect to experience and understand the unique cultural resources of the region, so they are obliged to preserve the culture and nature of the tourist destination. In case of Sapa, in the first quarter of 2019, the number of visitors peaked at 1.4 million, up about 16.6% from the previous year. However, numerous construction due to surge in tourists are not threatening the characteristics of the Sapa village. Tourism service providers include many companies which satisfy to tourist needs and revitalize the local economy. So they are responsible for maintaining the equity of profit and public interest, eco-friendly development, improving local manpower, and providing high-quality service. Sapa has been expanding various tourism developments since it opened a highway linking Hanoi and Lao Cai. They offer job opportunities to local people and raise real estate price, but excessive construction lowered the visitors' expectation and violated the local community's culture. Governments should consider the regional characteristics and purpose of local development. They should arrange basic guidelines and make a law for sustainable tourism. As reported by Lao Cai Master Plan for 2021 to 2030, the Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister demanded for better infrastructure based on local characteristics. He also emphasized the eco-friendly development to preserve historical and cultural values and natural heritage. Host area communities is a fundamental component of stakeholders. Their quality of life and macro environment are influenced by external stakeholders, so they should actively participate in the overall process of making decisions by sharing their vision, values, and goals as the main agent of the local industry. Host area communities in Sapa held numerous festivals based on the culture of minorities, informing the
Next is the trim-bottom line theory. Trim-bottom line is the phrase coined by Accountability Group and later Elkington publicly used in his book. This is a philosophy, a way of doing business, not just traditional financial, but also societal quality and also environmental justice. So, trim-bottom line needs to approach tourism industry in Sapa in order to gain sustainable benefits. The economics to ensure the profitability and defined to as remaining competitiveness to achieve long-term potential of that region. And society are the welfare of the community and cultural wealth to improve community quality of life. And lastly, environment are the natural capital to maintain biological diversity, prevent pollution, and building quality of the landscape. Performance evaluation of Sapa economic impacts have positively created opportunity for the region, reduce poverty, and regenerate employment. They have created tourism have created 61% of jobs, one third of which are ethnic minorities. The revenues have come up accounting to 4,000 billion Vietnam dong in 2018. However, Sapa still lack major projects that are planned and invested at period of stay of tourists is short, about 1.8 days per tourist, and the level of spending is still low. The social impacts possibly disturb the host community of life and their lifestyle, could increase the social conflicts due to the fact that their local culture and pathologies are being commercialized. But however, many Kenyan ethnic minorities family have a better life through tourism, direct and indirect income. For example, the poverty alleviation 3 times faster than a non-tourism village. The environmental impact have never negatively impact on the destination. For example, Dam Village attract 25,000 visitors, but decreased to 500 visitors due to the hydroelectricity affect their landscape and jeopardize. However, the positive sides, the fuel usage habit of local citizens has changed. Instead of cutting trees, they have changed to using gas or electricity to their lifestyle.
Hello everyone, my name is Ngọc and now I'm going to analyze the government's perspective on the TBL factors. First, let's look at the economic aspect. Lào Cai's Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism, together with Sapa's local authority, have initiated a slogan for tourism. The slogan is "Turn Heritage into Assets." And the approach here is to preserve the local cultures in order to boost tourism growth, and the desirable outcomes will be to reduce poverty, increase income as well as living standards for the local people. However, a challenge here for Sapa is that there is an unequal distribution of economic benefits between the urban area and the rural area. As you can see from the pictures here, there's a huge contrast, as urban Sapa takes most of the tourism revenue while the rural people receive very little revenue. Now let's look at the societal aspect. Thanks to involvement in tourism activities, the role of women has been enhanced because women are now making more money for their families. Another opportunity for Sapa is that it was just upgraded to a district level town in 2020, so this brings about a new urban authority. The challenge here is that Sapa's people committee is largely controlled by the King ethnicity, so there is little involvement from the minor ethnicities in decision making. What about the environmental aspect? Tourism activities have had several impacts on the environment in Sapa. The good side is that deforestation has been reduced because now more people are working in tourism and the service industry instead of cutting trees for agriculture purposes. But the downside here is there is water shortage and there's also pollution caused by construction. Now let us turn the perspective to the service providers. In terms of economic sustainability, there are so many tourism projects going on that it has decreased the town's authenticity, and this poses a threat of losing tourism profits. What about the societal aspect? The good news is that businesses are investing a lot of money in homestays that are owned by the local people. So this is a huge opportunity for local people to get the financial incentive to do tourism.
Moving on to visitor interest in TBL, under economic sustainability, tourists are now even more attracted to Sapa because they have easier access from Hanoi to Sapa. You can either take express bus or train, from affordable to luxurious type of transportation. For accommodations, the average price for hotel are between $22 to $43 and can sometimes cost up to $200 for a 5-star hotel. But during peak seasons, tourists are not overcharged thanks to Sapa's policies. Service providers have made efforts to conserve the environment while conducting businesses. Such projects like Sun Group at Hill and Sun Grove at Sabang Legend has helped promote the forest protection from deforestation and illegal wood gathering. However, other service providers' ongoing and uncontrolled infrastructure has been blocking views to natural scenery, and this presents a threat to tourists who come and cannot enjoy the natural scene anymore. So in conclusion, Service providers are most likely to welcome the societal and economic aspect because they present beneficial opportunities for growth. However, we can see that there is an inconsistency in green tourism practices between service providers in Sapa, and this is not very beneficial for long-term goals. For social sustainability, international tourists tend to spend more time in the village with ethnic minorities rather than in town because they want that first-hand experience with the local cultures, lifestyles, and cuisine. However, being constantly surrounded by the street sellers still scares and annoys many tourists, and this affects the tourist experience overall. Lastly, we have environmental sustainability. Tourists who visit Sapa expected to see the rustic beauty and the natural magnificent environment. However, in recent years, fast development and visual pollution caused by littering has disappointed them a lot. So clearly, tourists are most likely to welcome the economic and social aspect, but not the environmental one because what they expected to see is quite different from reality. So this leads to negative customer satisfaction, affecting overall image of Sabas and their revisit intentions.
My name is Joe, and I will present about the host community interest and the bottom line. First is the economic aspect. On the bright side, tourism provides financial support for locals. Nowadays, ethnic people can find a job in tourism activities like being a tour guide, taxi driver, handicraft seller, or even a homestay owner. So, tourism created jobs and income for the local to improve their living standard. However, there is an unequal distribution between king people and the minority groups. Why? Because while king people earn a lot from tourism, the ethnic minority just gain a very small portion, even though there are the main reasons to attract tourists. And the reasons are lack of knowledge, skills, capital, and language that prevent them from joining the tourism. Coming to the societal sustainability, it's good to know that cultures are the most important factor for tourists to visit Sapa. So that's why many cultural heritage and festivals are preserved and promoted, thus making the role of the local people is enhanced because their participation in cultural performances is vital for tourism activities. However, tourism development might lead to the commercialization of indigenous cultures, seeing that many folklore are held because of money and the local do not care about the internal meaning of the festivals anymore. So let's move to the last part, the environmental aspect. Illegal on the bright side, illegal logging activities of the local residents are diminished because they understand that preserving the nature is a way to attract tourists, which financially benefit themselves. However, we think that over-tourism is threatening the nature of the host community, so they are likely to suffer from the great loss if the environment is abused. So next, I will present about a recommendation for the economic sustainability. Number one, how to minimize the unequal distribution between king people and the minority groups. So we suggest provide training courses and education because this has been proved to be an effective way to enhance the locals' involvement in tourism. For example, more social enterprises like Sapa Auto should be enhanced because this organization help the local to join tourism by providing language, IT, and life skill classes, literacy programs, and accommodation school fees for disadvantaged students. Besides, acknowledging that tourists want to see the beautiful nature when they visit Sapa, tourism services could lose their profit if their construction damage the environment. So we suggest they should invest more in natural-based infrastructure. As you can see in the picture, scenic gardens and eco-complexes to satisfy tourist demand.
For sustainable tourism, there should be a strong local authority to present the interests of the communities. Sapa's officials should provide local people with opportunities to participate in decision making and to gain more status on the local committee. And industrial regulation should be enforced for the commercialization of ethnic cultures and street vendors who hinder the experience of tourists. It can solve the problem through more detailed and effective policies that regulate what, when, and how tourism activities are allowed.
For the environment recommendation, it should be a top priority to invest waste treatment system from a large amount of waste, and the policies to encourage eco-tour from the government to establish with eco-label tour. It would raise awareness for both travelers and residents. Besides, they can attract specific customers to the destination. Lastly, they should emphasis on educating visitors to protect flora and fauna of the destination of Sapa. Here are our reference, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, just let us know. Thank you.